Where's my burrito? Where's my burrito? Where's my burrito?
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
Hello, greetings, and welcome. Welcome to the Stereo 999 YouTube channel. I am your host, the artist formerly known as Stereo Steve, and I am here with my good pal, Mr. Gopher. Say hi, Mr. Gopher.
Hi, Mr. Gopher. Steve. Do you think anybody noticed that you didn't do a show last week?
I don't know. I don't know. I just, I didn't announce that I wasn't doing a show or anything. I figured I'd just not do one because I didn't feel like it. I just had other stuff going on last weekend. And continuing with the tag saturation, this week I am going to do the punk rock vinyl tag of 2025, which was started by Vinylnaut 348. Start the year with your spectacular punk vinyl tag. Yes, I'll put a link to the original video on there. Alright, so I think this edible is kicking in, so I better not try to say anything too profound and just get to the damn questions, because if you're watching at home and you've gotten this far, you've probably been yelling, "Get on with it!" at the screen.
A few minutes later.
Punk vinyl tag, and just long story short, most of my punk records are old punk records because that was when I was into it, was a long time ago. And so I'm not answering every question. There are questions pertaining to more modern stuff that I might adapt to fit into what kind of records I can get into this. But there were some where I just knew the answer right away. And so I got my notes, I got my stack of records. Let me just get into question one, DIY, make your own question. So my own question, which I did not see in here, this question: what was your introduction to punk rock? Your introduction to punk rock. Well, for me, I was a little kid, in the late 70s. And, I remember when I was really little, there was a band called Kiss that the adults were saying were terrible and awful things happened because of them, and kids all across the country were setting themselves on fire because Kiss set themselves on fire, and Alice Cooper threw snakes out into the audience and people were getting bit, and they were all, it was kind of the pop rocks plus Coca-Cola kind of rock and roll legend, urban legends. But that kind of fizzled out, and then there was this new thing called punk rock, and I was hearing the grown-ups talk about this new thing called punk rock in the same kind of way, and I was watching TV, and it was like watching TV, and they were talking about this terrible new thing, punk rock, and how terrible it is. And they showed a clip of Sex Pistols doing God Save the Queen. And me having a well-functioning sense of humor, thought rhyming God Save the Queen with She Ain't No Human Being was the most brilliant thing that I had heard up to that point. So that was my introduction to punk rock. Okay. So so the second question is, show your punk vinyl find of 2024. And I'm going to just go with record from the last few years. Yeah, this was a blind buy. I just picked it up because it looked cool. And Mr. Gopher,
What?
dude, you gotta move.
Half of my face is missing. Ah!
So Stun Guns, they were a punk band from Florida in like 1996, and this collection, this album came out in 2003 collection of their stuff that I guess was singles, and I just bought this because it was cheap and it looked cool on Shut Up Records. But yeah, this record rocks. Okay, the other question 3 is, show a record from a new band that took you by storm. And I do like this record. I don't know anything about this band, but it's the most recent kind of punkish band. It's another blind buy that I bought because it looked kind of cool. The band's called Lurk. I think they were from Chicago, and it's from 2021. And this is a good kind of punky record with some kind of other influences as well. But this is a pretty rockin' record, and it's on some really neat colored vinyl. So, but like I said, you know, most of my punk records are old records, so we'll see. Show a record from a local punk band. Well, San Francisco means Dead Kennedys. This is the UK pressing of their first album, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables, on the Cherry Red label. Came out on some nice blue vinyl. Viva Las Vegas. See, the originals of this have an orange cover, and it shows all the people, but they didn't have permission, so they just removed their head on subsequent pressings. Okay. Show your favorite foreign punk record. Okay. Well, I got two to make up for questions I'm not answering. I got 2 foreign punk records. This from 1981, early 80s. This band's from Finland. They're called Tervit Cadet. And, you know, if you used to listen to the old Maximum Rock and Roll on KPFA, you knew those guys were always in search of the fastest hardcore with the shortest songs. And this is mostly super fast, super short hardcore songs. And this kicks some ass. Tervit Cadet from Finland. And the other foreign punk record, the Stalin from Japan. And they were just heavy. They were in a class by themselves. They didn't sound like anybody else. Political. And we were talking about super fast hardcore songs. These guys weren't afraid to have some long songs along with the short songs. Okay, let's see what else. Show a signed punk record. Okay, so this is the Avengers, San Francisco punk band. This is their 4-song EP from 1978. And sometime in the 80s, I managed to get it signed by the singer, Penelope Houston. It says Penelope X Avenger because she was not in the band. She had like a solo thing going on. And this is a great record. It has the American in me. That's not what you can do for your country. What your country been doing to you. All right.
Some mornings there's a little monster in all of us.
Good morning, Fred.
And until that first cup of coffee, we can all be pretty beastly.
Good morning, Fred.
That's when your 7-Eleven store can be a lifesaver.
Good morning, Fred.
With a good cup of fresh brewed hot coffee to perk up your morning. 7-Eleven coffee brings out the best of the beast in you.
Hey, wow.
Where's my burrito? Where's my burrito? Where's my burrito?
911 is not a working number for your area. For emergencies, hang up a moment and dial your operator.
This is all leading up to something, so just keep watching. Question number 7. Show an underrated second album by a punk band. And this is another one I knew right away what I was going to answer. Die Kreuzen October File. Me and my friends love this record. Most folks steer you towards their first album, which is more straight up hardcore, but they branched out and did really interesting stuff on their second and third albums. I don't know if I would call this like that kind of late 80s hard indie rock, kind of leaning towards metal a little bit. Some fast songs, some mellow songs. They're from Milwaukee, the city that made beer famous. That just looking at that cover brings back like crazy insane memories. But anyway, what next one? Show a punk cassette tape that you bought in 2024. And I did not buy any punk cassette tapes in 2024. I had a cassette tape from a punk band from the mid-2000s that I wanted to show in a previous video, and I guess I'll just tell the story since I think I threw the cassette in the trash because it just pissed me off so much, but I kind of wish I kept it for evidence. So this band, I'm not going to name them, but there was a band like in San Francisco, and they had a cassette tape, and I got their cassette tape. When I went to play it, it would not play. I flip it over, it would not play. It would not rewind, it would not fast forward, it would not move, it would not play the cassette. So on closer inspection, the band spray painted their cassette tape to make it look cool, and the spray paint got inside like the little gears and rendered it unplayable. Dumbasses. This is what unchecked hipsterism brings, and you must be cognizant of that. I'm just a dumbass from Damascus. Anyway, this is the first punk cassette tape I ever had, and I still have it, and it is a blue GRT Ramones Leave Home cassette tape. OG Carbonanot glue. I wrote down the little numbers on the dial where the songs were on my boombox. Yeah, so I'll show that for a cassette tape. All right. Which new punk record are you most excited to get your hands on in 2025? Wire's one of my favorite bands, and I saw that there is like a collection of their earlier stuff that's coming out for a record store day thing, and that's like one of the few record store day things that caught my interest this time around. Question 11. Show a punk record that mixes two genres. Well, again, getting into the old school. This originally came out as a cassette, but I got the CD. The first album by Bad Brains, which combined hardcore punk and reggae music. Because they had songs like I Love Ajah, and then they had like the funkier songs. All right. Now this is question 13. Show your Puke punk record. Puke punk record. What does that even mean? Puke punk. Is that a genre that I am not aware of? Lost my place, man. I lost my place. What was the last thing I showed? Was it Bad Brains? Okay. But I jumped ahead to Puke Punk. That was 13. Well, this No Wave compilation, which has nothing to do with the actual no wave genre, is just like a compilation of tracks on A&M. It's got Squeeze and the Police and the Stranglers and the Dickies and Joe Jackson. But it's kind of on a vomit vinyl with like little blue streaks in it. So maybe that's a Puke Punk record. Okay. See, I stacked them wrong. I stacked the deck wrong. Okay, so I skipped question. Okay. Question 12. Show a drunk punk or straight edge record. Well, Minor Threat for straight edge. And this was like their first few 7-inches compiled onto this album. Originally released in 1981, but they were the originators of the DC hardcore, straight edge movement, and then of course Ian MacKaye. The next question: show a record from a band that made one perfect record. We're going to stay in DC. Rites of Spring on Discord. This is a brilliant record. Was it from like 85 or something? But of course, Guy Picciotto from Rites of Spring and Ian MacKaye from Minor Threat formed the band Fugazi after those bands dissolved. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. I can have Minor Threat and Rites of Spring next to each other, and the Puke Punk out in the Puke. Okay, so there's this kind of cluster of ridiculous questions that I really don't know how to answer. But I decided I would answer one of them, and that is number 16. Show your ring music that makes you ready to fight. Well, that wouldn't be punk rock, buddy. That would be Boots Randolph, Yakety Sax. Number 19. Share a non-punk record that your punk rock friends gave you shit for loving. Harder to find one they didn't. No, but seriously, I was hanging back in the day, back in the 80s, hanging with one of my friends that was into the punk rock, and I turned on the radio, and it was a FM rock station that played entire albums at certain times of day. And yeah, it was Sunday nights. They were playing entire albums, and I turned on the radio and they were playing this album, and I was like, oh, I'll leave that on, that's kind of cool. And my friend was like, do you actually like this shit? Why? And that record was Days of Future Past by the Moody Blues. All right. Last question. I gotta turn this thing off. Pick up Mr. Gopher off the ground. Show the punk rock record cover predicting a 2025 event. I'm gonna just go with this Maximum Rock and Roll compilation. Welcome to 1984. Just for the little police state scenario on there. And just keep it vague, because times are so unpredictable. Who knows what the hell's going to happen next? 23 bands from 17 countries. Aren't 23 and 17 like the Illuminati conspiracy numbers?
You know, I probably shouldn't have to tell you this, but like this video and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And if you're new here, watch some of Steve's other videos, because they're probably a lot better than this one, and you haven't seen them yet. And yeah, leave a comment. Any kind of comment. Well, be nice, be cool, don't be a jerk. But comments will give Steve some dopamine, and he'll get over his imposter syndrome and keep making these videos.
Okay then, that's my video. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, and